The star most commonly associated with the worship of Saturn in ancient traditions is typically interpreted as a six-pointed star, hexagram, or a five-pointed star, pentagram, depending on the cultural and historical context. The hexagram is an ancient geometric symbol that predates its association with Judaism as the Star of David. It has been found in various cultures, often as a symbol of cosmic unity or balance, example, fire and water, male and female, Saturn in ancient worship. Saturn as a deity. Saturn was worshipped in various cultures, including the Babylonian, Assyrian, Roman, and Canaanite traditions. It was associated with time, death, harvest, and sometimes destructive energies. Saturn is often connected to celestial and astrological symbols, as it was recognized as one of the 7 visible wandering stars, planets. The six-pointed star, hexagram, and Saturn, the hexagram, 2 interlocking triangles, which later became the Star of David, Seal of Solomon, is sometimes linked with Saturn worship in esoteric traditions. In occult symbolism, the hexagram is associated with alchemical and planetary correspondence, where Saturn is represented as a celestial force of restriction, discipline, and transformation. Some theories suggest that the Star of Remphan, referenced in biblical idolatry, could have been a hexagram symbol tied to Saturn worship. The five-pointed star, pentagram. The pentagram was widely used in ancient cultures for astral worship, often representing celestial forces and planets, including Saturn. It is sometimes associated with Saturn in pagan and occult practices, where each point might symbolize elements or celestial bodies. Six-pointed star, Kabbalah, the cross and the cube connection. The 2 interlocking triangles, one pointing upward, representing spirit, fire, or the divine, and one pointing downward representing matter, water, or the physical world. The cube at the center represents stability, grounding, and the material world. It signifies the point of balance, where the spiritual and physical realms meet. In Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, the 6 points of the star correspond to the 6 directions of space: north, south, east, west, up, and down, with the cube in the center representing the unifying center, the foundation or 𝗖𝘆𝗰𝗱𝗍. The cube is also a symbol of the material world, representing the containment of divine energy. The cube is one of the 5 Platonic solids and represents the element of earth, symbolizing solidity, structure, and order. Its placement within the star can indicate the idea of the material universe existing within a larger spiritual framework. The star and cube together emphasize the idea of unity between opposites, spiritual and physical, infinite and finite, male and female, divine and earthly. In esoteric traditions, the cube within the hexagram can symbolize transformation and manifestation. The star represents higher consciousness, and the cube embodies the process of bringing higher ideals into material form. The net, unfolded form of a cube is a cross, symbolizing sacrifice and redemption in Christianity. The cross, central to Christian theology, represents the sacrifice of Jesus Christ for the sins of humanity. If the cube is interpreted within the hexagram, one might see the cross, or sacrifice, contained within the framework of a symbol sometimes linked to paganism or Moloch worship. This layered symbolism might evoke a perceived corruption or subversion of Christian values. When combined with the idea of Moloch, the hexagram may be portrayed as representing a dark inversion of Christian symbolism, particularly the notion of sacrificing the innocent children to a false god. Anomical and astrological representations. Literal representation of Saturn. Saturn was often represented symbolically as a star or planetary glyph. In astrology, its glyph resembles a scythe, reflecting Saturn's association with harvest and time. Ancient star charts may depict Saturn alongside star symbols to indicate its role as a celestial deity. Saturn's ringed appearance. Although the rings of Saturn were not observed until the invention of the telescope, Some suggest ancient mystics perceived Saturn as a star with a circle, or a halo, leading to symbolic representations like stars encased in rings. Connections to idolatry. The star of Remphan, mentioned in the Bible Acts 7:43, Amos 5:26, is associated with the worship of Saturn. It is thought to be an ancient name for this planet, worshipped in Babylonian, Assyrian, and other ancient Near Eastern religions. In these traditions, Saturn was often associated with time, harvest, and sometimes destructive or dark forces. While the Bible doesn't describe its shape, many speculate it could have been a 6 or 5-pointed star, aligning with symbols used in ancient idolatry. In ancient idolatry, symbols representing celestial bodies like the sun, moon, and planets were common. These symbols were used as talismans or incorporated into the worship of gods like Moloch, associated with child sacrifice and other deities. The Star of Remphan is likely part of this tradition, symbolizing the Israelites' adoption of pagan religious practices during periods of disobedience to God. Esoteric and modern speculation. In esoteric traditions, the hexagram has been associated with mystical or occult practices, including planetary magic. These later interpretations sometimes retroactively link the hexagram to ancient deities like Baal or Astarte. Conclusion. The star associated with the worship of Saturn varies across traditions. The 6-pointed star, hexagram, is often connected to Saturn in esoteric and occult systems. The 5-pointed star, pentagram, is also linked to Saturn and other celestial bodies in ancient astral worship. Ultimately, the precise star shape tied to Saturn worship in ancient times remains speculative, as much of this symbolism was passed down through interpretative traditions, rather than direct historical evidence.